Today's multimedia session will talk about how Palo Alto Networks' next-generation firewalls can help system administrators systematically manage the unknown traffic on their network. Unknown traffic creates a certain amount of fear in most security practitioners. Every network will have a small amount of unknown traffic. It might be an internal application, it might be an unidentified commercial application, or worse yet, it might be a threat. Whichever of those three items the traffic is, left unmanaged, a small amount of traffic that is unknown can become a significant concern. To put it another way, what you cannot see might hurt you. Now, we feel that there are certain best practices for managing unknown traffic. The first thing you want to do is analyze and determine what the application is, categorize the unknown traffic, determine if it's an internal application, a commercial application, or a threat. You then want to apply appropriate control mechanisms and continue using logging, reporting, and other forensic mechanisms to determine the impact and the result. AppID is the core of how Palo Alto Networks helps administrators systematically manage unknown traffic. AppID will use up to 4 mechanisms to first determine what the application is. Anything that is unknown is categorized as either unknown TCP or unknown UDP. So as traffic flows through the AppID detection mechanisms, you'll see that the traffic is identified as either application X, Y, or Z. Unknown UDP and unknown TCP are categorized as such. So from an AppID and Palo Alto Networks perspective, the best way to systematically manage unknown traffic is to learn more about the traffic. You can see the source and destination and the users of unknown TCP and UDP, and you can also see the threats associated with that traffic, and we'll show you that in just a moment. You can use elements such as application override, create a custom AppID and policy control mechanisms to exert the appropriate controls. You can also use the packet capture, the behavioral botnet report, logging details, and reporting details to further analyze the traffic. So now let's jump into the product demo and take a look at how Palo Alto Networks can help system administrators systematically manage unknown traffic. Once you've logged in, you will first go to Application Command Center, where a person can see the different types of applications traversing the network. You can see the URLs, the threats, and the data patterns traversing the network. As a reminder, Application Command Center gives an administrator a 10,000-foot view of the traffic traversing the network, and with a few clicks of a mouse, you can drill down into that particular bank of traffic and learn more about that traffic, who's using it, and the threats associated with that traffic. Specifically, if you're managing unknown traffic, unknown traffic is categorized as unknown. So you'll switch to the category view and then drill down into unknowns, where you'll see unknown UDP and unknown TCP. Those are the two buckets where unknown applications will typically fall. Now you'll see additional drill down into unknown UDP will give you all of the source, destination information that you might need to determine whether that's an internal application or whether it's a threat or whether it's still unknown traffic. So you'll see what you can do with the unknown UDP traffic. You can drill down into it and see who's using it, where the traffic is coming from, where the traffic is going to, that type of thing. From here, you can then move into the Policy tab and begin exerting appropriate levels of control. Now let's take a look at the Security Policy tab, where we can set a policy based on unknowns and treat that unknown traffic in the same manner that we would other application traffic. As you can see here, we have unknown TCP and unknown UDP as the allowed applications for all users. Over on the far right-hand side, we've applied security profiles to inspect that content for any possible threats. Another manner in which we can manage unknown traffic is using the application override. The application override effectively allows me to rename that application or create a custom application that we can apply to the unknown TCP and unknown UDP traffic, thereby reducing the amount of traffic traversing the network. A more detailed or granular way to manage unknown traffic is creating a custom app ID. Custom app ID would be here, so you'll be able to see the custom application that we've already begun created. The description has been input into the appropriate fields. You can then assign the category, subcategory, and technology, as well as a risk level. These are the same elements that are used by Palo Alto Networks development teams when they create the app IDs for commercial applications. Advanced mechanisms, you can apply specific ports, so you can make sure that it uses a particular port and IP protocol. And then you would go through and you would begin creating a particular signature using the signature creation mechanisms. Once that's all created, you would save it, and then it becomes an application, as you see here, in the list of applications that you can use within the policy tabs. What this does, it allows you to exert more granular control and more specific protection mechanisms over your custom application or your internal application. Now let's go take a look at the different elements that you can use within the Monitor tab to learn more about the unknown traffic and apply appropriate forensics. Forensics and analysis would be performed in the Monitor tab. The first thing that we want to take a look at is the behavioral botnet report. The behavioral botnet report looks at the traffic patterns traversing the network and tells the system administrators the different IP addresses and users that might be infected with a botnet. What we do is we look at the URL lookups, the DNS lookups, the different malicious URLs that the server or endpoint is visiting, and we make a confidence recommendation. You'll see here in the left-hand column, as well as the location and the action that was going on. What this does, it tells the administrators which machines they might want to go and look at in terms of determining whether that machine is infected with a botnet. The second item that we might take a look at in the Monitor tab is the packet capture capacity. The packet capture capacity allows you to record traffic of perhaps a commercial application that we've identified on your network. That packet capture is then sent back to the development team at Palo Alto Networks. We would analyze the packet capture and identify the application if it's a commercial application, and then create an app ID and put that app ID back into the database in the form of a weekly update that would then help us increase the number of applications being identified by app ID. And then the third element that we might take a look at is obviously the logging, the different log databases. You've got the traffic log, the threat log, URL filtering, configuration, etc. And you can quickly do some analysis and more granular forensics within the particular log databases to further determine and analyze the traffic patterns traversing the network. That wraps up the demonstration component of the best practices for managing unknown traffic on your network. Now let's jump out and take a look at the summary. Managing unknown traffic is enabled by App ID, as we saw. App ID is always on, always classifying traffic across all ports for all applications. That application identity becomes the basis for the firewall policy, whether it's a commercially identified application or a custom built App ID or an internal application. It's the basis for the firewall policy. That allows you to exert best practices for managing unknown traffic. You learn what the traffic is, Using ACC and the other tools, you exert the appropriate levels of control using the policy control mechanisms in the product, and then you analyze and perform any ongoing necessary forensics. Thanks for your time today. Take care.